GM.
How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing great. By the way, I'm recording the call in the background so we can get any highlights posted on social media and so on. We can do some post production magic after the call.
The highlight reel,
Yeah.
the top 10 plays of the week.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I've got, oh, hello. Do this one. Cool. Yeah, this is exciting. There's a lot going on this round. I feel like we've exponentially leveled up.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm super excited because of the retro funding for mature builders, because of how now early projects are getting more matching, let's say, because they don't need to compete with big names out there. Kind of. Also, the number of community rounds is amazing.
Yeah, and there's also yeah, exactly. We've got Refi Mediterranean's going to be in there as a QF round, but we're kind of like not an officially supported Gitcoin round, which is kind of cool because we get to be in it, but also it's a much lower risk, or how would I say, maybe like high impact experiment.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Rio de Janeiro is that looks really exciting.
You have more room to experiment. Yeah, I was in the council reviewing projects. The Rio de Janeiro one was like, yo, this is awesome because it's all for NGOs, and it kind of they double down on the Ethereum localist meta. So yeah.
Okay, so how do we want to do this today?
I write like a small description. I can drop it in the chat. That is like it's a simple framework that I feel like is going to cover everything under the sun. So let me look for it. It's simple questions that I know you know them from the top of your mind. Hold on. Boom. Okay. Let me drop it in the chat. Like, this is basically a simple outline that I built. Is who's the target audience for Karma Gap? What is Karma Gap? When it is the right time to leverage Karma Gap? Where I can use Karma Gap today, like integrations, because like some people is not aware like how influential the Karma Gap data is nowadays in grants program and communities. And why should I even use Karma Gap? Like, why? What's the why?
Yeah.
Simple.
Well, I mean, maybe we should start with the why.
Yeah.
And before we even get there, just to give a little introduction to myself, I go by Region Avocado online. And um, in addition to enjoying eating avocado toast, I'm also planting a lot of avocados here in Sicily. And one of the leaders and founders of Refi Sicilia, which is our local regenerative finance bioregional organization. I'm also active member in Refi Italia. We've just started up Refi Mediterranean with all of the other local Refi nodes, onboarding more of the local projects. And then Refi DAO globally, also with Green Pill Network. Uh, is now part of region coordination. And so there's a lot going on. We've been at this for a long time. I've joined Karma recently to help with community growth and success. And so I'm happy to be here. You know, Gitcoin is a big time for Karma because I think what normally happens is that during the grant rounds, there's a lot of activity. And then once the grants conclude, then it kind of quiets down. And, you know, getting people to remember to post updates. And, you know, another big question is how do we verify those updates are accurate or real? And so these are some of the questions that we're thinking about right now. And we've got some interesting ideas for how we can provide some more incentives. But I just want to say that Karma Gap, GAP, is Grants Accountability Protocol. And so this is actually just one of the products of Karma. There's also, and really, if you guys have time later, you can check out the website. There's another governance feature. So there's a whole nother suite of products for DAOs to track delegations and to track DAO operations and performance. And so with GAP, this is mostly focused traditionally on grants. Now we are growing and expanding to pretty much any funding opportunity. So we just made an announcement today. We partnered with Cello, has what's called a proof of ship program. And so proof of ship is basically projects apply to the round, and then, you know, depending on the GitHub commits, the funding is then rewarded to like the top performers. So that's going on a monthly basis. And this kind of ties into like, why do we want to use Karma Gap? Because a lot of money is flowing around the ecosystem, and it is really easy to lose track of, well, where did that money go? What were the results? Who should we give money to next time? And so Karma Gap really steps into a really critical role of being an on-chain attestation. And so we can go in to some of the more of the features to just give an idea of how this works. So first thing you want to do, and you're gonna want to have a wallet set up. So I've just made a simple. I just made a. Here we go. So I've just made a test wallet, and there's no project associated with Karma Gap yet. And so one of the cool things about the Gitcoin rounds is that when you apply for a Gitcoin round, you automatically get a Karma Gap profile. Because you are applying, when you apply for the Gitcoin round, you do have to like sign a message and pay to do an on-chain transaction to write that to the blockchain. And so here I'm just going through the little setup wizard, and I believe that you do have to pay a small fee on Arbitrum to set up the project profile if you're going to do it independently. And so here it's just kind of giving us an introduction to what we can do. And we'll get a better, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a project. And so maybe we can have this as like, let's grow together. Description, we are growing. One of the cool things about this form is that it is really easy. Like when you have your profile set up, this automatically formats it to be very easy to read. And so it's going to make your profile look great. It's going to be interesting for people who come across your profile. I had a finger injury, so I've got my my index fingers offline right now, so typing a little slower than usual. Okay, what's the solution here? We are doing it together, having fun. Okay, mission summary. Have fun. Oh, reporting. Okay. Then we add our socials, Karma HQ, if anybody's interested, wants to follow us, optional, optional, optional. What is your business model? Karma points. What stage are you in? Seed planting? 0. So these are just you know, simple. You can make it as complete as you want, and you can always go back and update it later. Okay, this is one cool thing. So for a lot of these Gitcoin grants, you may have multiple people on your team. And so here you can actually input the wallet address of your team members. But I think I'm just going to have to enter my own. All right, let's see if this works. Add, create project. Okay. So got to pay a little fee. I just had a pop-up window on MetaMask. Okay, I think that worked. Let's take a look. So I'm going to go click on my projects. And so here's my project. Now, when you go and apply for the Gitcoin grant, you're already attaching your wallet address. So all you have to do is this will see login. So I just log in with the wallet that you applied for the Gitcoin, and then that's going to show up automatically. And so here, you can easily access the projects. You can have multiple projects. So maybe you're on multiple teams and you're probably going to be applying for multiple rounds. And so what's cool is you can go to funding here, and they're going to have a list of all of the Gitcoin grants already available. So let's say that you've participated in Gitcoin grants in the past. You can go through, excuse me, okay. You can go through and find your grant. So here's a list of all the grants on Gitcoin. And then another, I'll just leak some alpha, but we are working on an integration with GiveF. So here you can actually import your GiveF rounds as well. So we can, yeah, add multiple. Okay, so it even goes even more in detail to the specific rounds. Okay, and then just you know, we're going beyond just grants, so you can actually, we do have a funding map. So we go through the internet and find any upcoming grant funding round. So it could be that Arbitrum is, you know, handing out funding for app development, or some other organization is doing some funding rounds. So you can actually go and find other funding. So this is the funding map. And so, yeah, we clean this up regularly, and you can actually search to see which grant programs are available, funding programs. So that's a cool feature. Oops, that's good. Okay, so let's say that you have your project set up, you've got your page. Now, what can we do here? And so normally you can go to updates and post a project activity. And so let's say that onboarding and then description, onboarded the next wave of growers. You can pick a start date. What day is today? The 18th, 19. We can add a specific grant. This is actually kind of cool because oftentimes if you are participating in multiple Gitcoin grant rounds, it's like hard to say, okay, well, I did this activity for this specific grant. And so this is a new feature that allows you to specifically choose which grant this activity is for. We'll use Cello as an example here. And also, please, if anybody has any questions, don't be shy to interrupt. Here's also milestones. So you can be as descriptive as you want with this. I know some rounds are a little bit more, I wouldn't say strict, but I think they have higher requirements for reporting. I know that the Coconut Network has a that's the gold standard for milestones and updates. I'm kind of mixing like two things in one because updates and milestones can be two separate things. So I'm just going to go back before we write this to the blockchain unnecessarily. Okay, so we're back here. The other thing that I want to point out is these deliverables. So this is something new from, it's called the Common Approach Framework, which is just a reporting standard. And so here you can basically put two things in, deliverables and metrics. And so add a deliverable, so training program. And then, I would probably put the link of the YouTube video up later once it's published. And then description, let's grow DAO onboarding, GG23. Metrics should be associated with specific grants. Okay. I really don't want to add a grant. But you kind of get the idea. So the other, so this is where it gets just want to say it gets a little tricky because you've got an update button here, and you've got an update button here. And so what happens when we post an update? So it gives you a little bit of a different interface. So we can add a milestone, update a milestone, update project activity, or if we have, let's say we are running a grant and we want to update that grant information, you can do it there. So if you're a grant operator and you're running a community round in GG23, you can go here and update any information for that specific round. Some other cool features is you can actually get endorsements. And so you can ask somebody to say, hey, please vouch for my project. And then here on the left-hand side, you can add team members, and then there's an easy invite code that comes up. So you can just drop this in your group chat, and then people can go ahead and sign up. So, I'm just making this as a little example, but we can go and search other projects. And so here we have, this is a much better example. Okay, so we've got a grant description, overview.
That's the foundation one. Get to the check out the network one. Yeah, that one.
Okay, okay. Yeah, but while I'm here, just to show
Okay,
you that
cool.
the you can search by grant rounds, and that's going to bring up I'll touch on that next. But yeah, let's go to, and you can see how many grant rounds Coconut Network has been in, and you can see all of the milestones and achievements based on the specific round. And I think the impact criteria is a newer feature, and that's, I think, mostly for, I mean, it's also for open source software, but also for the refi community as well.
I love that one. Like, that verify update option is basically like third party attestations inbuilt inside of Karma. Like anyone can say, okay, let me verify if this actually happened, and you can, as a community, like wisdom of crowds. I love wisdom of crowds. I feel I saw that feature. I was very happy about it because basically anyone can create an attestation about anyone else's project, and that's amazing.
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting is you can go to, okay, so the community page, so Climate Coordination Network, they are very active. They have many rounds, and you can go to the individual community page and you can see all of the programs that have participated in a Climate Coordination Network grant round. And so this is a cool, like, high level view of where everybody's activity is at. And so this is actually really impressive because, we're looking at all these projects, and, a lot of these are complete and have made updates. And then we can even go further and define the specific grant round, 21, for example, and we can compare and see. I think because this is one of the other things is we actually want to see all of these projects succeed, right? And so having this like community group effort where, let's say we want to go in to Solar Foundation, we can go ahead and give them a verification, or we can go and give them an endorsement. So these are, I think, yeah, that's the defining feature is like success is about like everybody winning, and I think that's what I really enjoy about the Gitcoin spirit is it's public goods, and I mean regeneration as well is, it's like everybody gets lifted up. So we cannot find that page. Okay. I want to go back and show another cool feature. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a lot here, but please, if anybody has any specific questions. Oh boy, we've gotten lost in the matrix.
We do have a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
We have one from Donnie, asking like if you create Karma uh, project before you do Bitcoin grant, will it auto-populate if you use the same wallet for G23 grant, or do you need to select a grant?
No, because so let's say you create your Karmic app profile first. Then all you have to do is, once you've applied for the Gitcoin grant round, all you have to do is just go to your project page, and then you'll be able to choose the Gitcoin grant that you've participated in. So if you go to funding, you'll be able to add the specific grant round. So that's all you really have to do.
And also, I saw you guys added a merge option, like in the three dots menu. to the right, I saw that they have like a merge option in the three dots. Besides post update and update, like
Yeah, because sometimes people will actually create two projects. It's the same thing. So maybe you used another wallet to create an older version from a previous round, and then you went in and created something new with a different wallet. So there is a merge feature. So these are the Karma Gap actually has really great documentation. So I can merge project there, which is nice. So you can actually go here on the hamburger, is that what they call it? The three dots. Merge, transfer ownership, link contracts, link GitHub repos, OSO profiles, add impact, grant Genie. Yeah, so there's a lot of functionality there. I did want to go back. Let's just go back because there's a really cool feature, an AI feature, and we were going through it a little bit with the community rounds. We can go back. Let's see. Climate solutions. Community. And then we get to this this community page. And so we can actually go ahead and ask Karma Beacon. Now this, I mean, this isn't so, I mean, maybe it is useful for grantees. I think this is more for like grant operators. But here we've got all the projects on the left-hand side, and then we've got this kind of like query bar where we can say like who has performed the most updates. So you can see that, yeah, Ayahuasca, Uganda, Carbon Copy, Earth. So, you know, it's fun. I think the more insight we can get into performance of these rounds, the better. And, you know, there's a lot of talk on in the space about like, you know, people trashing Gitcoin or that like, you know, they're just giving away free money and like who wants to fund public goods? It's like, hey, we're actually proving and showing like stuff is getting done. And I think that's what it really comes down to is just, you know, you got to show and not just tell. And so I think going back to like the why questions earlier in the chat, like this is why we need to use Karma for these Gitcoin grant rounds, because the more we can prove that we're shipping and we're delivering, the more funding hopefully is going to come. So yeah, I think I can pause here and we can open it up for discussion or questions.
I have a question. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Karma Gap is an underrated tool in some for some people because they believe there is a right time like to use it, and for me personally, there is no like a right time to use Karma Gap. I like to use it like to provide all sorts of updates for my project. It doesn't matter if the update belongs to a specific rank or not, because at the end of the day, this is on-chain data. Like this data is being published on-chain. You know, is useful to have it out there. Even if you are going to, let's say, present your project to someone new, or I don't know, like, but is there like a right time to use it, or it is more like all year or around, like, you know, suggest like.
Yeah, I think the best time to use it is when you actually finish what it, you know, if you when you make the update. So let's say you get your grant funding, you go ahead and hit that first milestone, go ahead and report it as soon as possible while it's still fresh, get as much detail in as possible, and just build up a habit. And and for the work that we're doing with Refi Sicilia, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of building, a lot of tree planting, and so I'm getting into a better habit of updating as we do the actual work. And so I think the other thing is like, is there an incentive that we could give people um, to post? So, not just like, okay, I'm going to post so I have a better profile. So, maybe people will donate to me in the next Gitcoin grant round. But what about, could you get paid to post or get paid to verify, or even earning like non-monetary points? And so Karma points is something like we've been thinking about. And there's a lot of token engineering, it's a lot involved, but I think we could figure out something where people are getting rewarded in some way, shape, or form anytime that they're either posting updates or verifying updates for others. And I think that'll probably be the next phase of growth for Karma, will be some type of incentive program. But yeah, I think just building up the habit and making it more social. And I think it's fun. Like you said, this is a journal of our journey, and a lot of this like normally goes unseen. And so putting it out there, getting people to see, like, I feel like it gives others like motivation, I think. And even though this is like, it is a little bit of a matrix, like finding your way around the bigger Karma Gap network, even just for yourself, like it helps getting more organized with milestones, updates, impact metrics. Like this is all stuff that just, how do you say, like we're just sharpening our sword. Like that's cool. You get like a GitHub commit chart.
Like yeah, it's similar to Twitter in a way, because I like to tweet about whatever is in my mind or whatever update we have for the project, and then going back to that tweet later, and realize that, hey, I was actually able to ship that I said that I was going to do, so like it's like I'm super bullish into online source of truth, like, because it becomes kind of easier whenever you're applying for a new program. You say, hey, this is my impact report, or this is my milestones report. Like, it opens many doors out there, and it's useful for anyone, any operator. They would love to see your project having like a centralized source of information when it comes to what is the actual work that you're doing, and even keeping track of how much funding you're getting from each program is useful, because Karma gives you that option to specify, okay, I got these GG21 grant, I got 5Ks, and then it's amazing to show what you were able to achieve with those 5Ks or whatever amount it may be.
Yeah, and it is pretty impressive how far the money can go. I'm just gonna try and find okay. Yeah, so Refi DAO, I mean, if anybody wants an example, Refi DAO and Monty Merlin have, been putting in a lot of work into this like reporting standard. So I'll just share this in the group chat because I think this is a good template. So yeah, outputs and outcomes, platforms onboarded, workshop participation. Yeah, so this is just very detailed. And then, a lot of the stuff you can just link either to, let's say you took a photo of a tree planting and posted it on Twitter, you can link to the Twitter, or you held like a community call, you can link to the YouTube, or you put together a Notion document, or you put together your Charmverse, or, you put your GitHub commit. So it's easy to just link to the proof. And also, yeah, so I think this round, a lot is going to be on the impact reporting. And then, yeah, as Wasabi said, we've got this new verify button, which is very, really exciting, I guess. I did see a comment about avocados in Sicilia. They're growing. We're tropicalizing. We can also grow coffee here. That's another interesting. Mangoes and coffee are coming online. Okay, yeah, Ayahuasca. Is this Jonathan? I'm having trouble hearing you. I think it might, I can't hear you. It may be better to just type the question. Sounded like Morse code.
Also, something that I love about Karma Gap is that whatever you do in Karma, like I call it evergreen value. Because, for example, let's say that tomorrow Monty wants to approach, I don't know, another organization beyond Silo. Like, okay, they are already working with Silo, they have the Silo public goods going on. But let's say that they want to approach a new organization, they can show, like, it's just sharing the Karma Gap profile and be like, hey, this is our proof of work. This is how, we aggregate all of the work here. It is easier for grantors to make a decision and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna give you the grant or we're gonna give you the support because it's like I don't know. I'm allergic to having to open 10 Google Docs or 10 Notions instead of having everything aggregated in one place with structured information. For me, it's priceless.
Yeah, it does feel like it is becoming a type of LinkedIn or like your online impact resume. And yeah, I could totally see it moving in that direction where just link to your Karma Gap profile. And yeah, it's just a really interesting space because we can do so much with this on-chain attestation stuff. And so, yeah, I think there's just a lot of potential. You know, my background's more on the regenerative finance side, and so that's a lot of the examples I use are around that. So, like, if, for example, if we plant a tree using Sylvie app, could we just like, ideally, it's you plant the tree, you take the photo, and then that photo just automatically updates the impact reporting, and then so you have that kind of like single source of truth. And I think we'll eventually get there. Right now, it's a little bit more like manually inputting the data, which isn't so fun, but also it's giving us, yeah, that proof and that traction. Okay, Jonathan's question. Normally find difficulty in reporting multiple tree planting events because we can have an update on Twitter, but we don't know that it's okay to report 5 events at once, or we report each activity separately. I think it depends. If the activity is like relatively like in the same time frame, I think you could just make one impact metric that would just include that. So you can, for example, I'll just go back to my project to showcase how this could look. So let's say we go to updates, post a project activity. So we could say like tree planting, and then worked with the local community to plant trees. And then I think, so let's say it was over like a couple days or a couple months. And then grant round, outputs, add deliverable. So we could say like tree planting. Why is this so small of a field? And then I think to like, so what's cool is you can add multiple deliverables. So maybe you had like multiple tree plantings, there was multiple pictures on Twitter, you could input every every one of those Twitter photos as an individual metric. And yeah, I have to add the grant round. So for whatever grant it was, so maybe it was for the climate round or the Ma Earth round or whatever. The metrics is where you can individually add the Twitter links. So I think that's probably the best answer to the question. But I think we can go, okay. For example, here they are, metrics. Okay, so this is the Refi DAO page we're back at. So you can put in, for example, we could say trees planted 10, put in the date, and then there's your link to the Twitter post. And you can just keep adding those metrics. And so you can have just multiple lines, and it'll just kind of organize everything much better. Yeah, weekly activities. So ideally, I mean, you could probably just do it either monthly or quarterly, and then you just add the tree plantings. But also too, I mean, you could do it every week. And what's nice is when you put in these metric fields, it auto saves. So let's say that, for example, if this was trees, and so the deliverables and the metrics, all of those keywords get auto saved so that the next time you go to put the information in, it's already like there, ready to go. And so it'll speed up the reporting process. Is anybody here running around? Is that you, Will?
It is me. I just came off of our community call, so I'm just getting up to speed here a little bit. No, I'm not running around. I was looking for the thumbs down emoji, but it's not here on Google Meet. So, but good to be here. It looks like this has been a very robust session.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm surprised. Just there's been a lot of new features added lately to Karma Gap, and just the work that Monty was doing with the common approach framework is going to be really interesting. And also, yeah, it's just getting easier to use. It's getting more networked, a lot more like cross verification. Yeah, it's just getting easier to use. The team ships really fast, and so yeah, just a busy time with Gitcoin grants. And Karma Gap is moving beyond just grants to any funding really. And so there's a lot of opportunity out there. So even if you get your foot in the door with like a Gitcoin grant and you start building up your on-chain reputation, and we were talking about this just a little bit ago, it is like your on-chain LinkedIn impact profile. And so that's going to make it easier to go to more other funding rounds by other projects, and to say like, this is what we've shipped, this is what we've done. And so the more on-chain reputation you have, the more funding you're going to get in the future.
100% agree, and we have several Karma pages as well where we identify our impact, but we're also tapping into what the regen coordination community is doing as far as their new methodology. And I'll be diving into that later today and see how we can apply it or enhance it to our projects where we have verifiable impact.
Oops, I guess. What is the name? What's the name of the Karma page?
Oh, so the most recent one, you can search for Pathways for Latam.
Okay, yes. Actually saw an update recently. Okay. Cool. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, this just like makes it so much easier to understand like what's actually happening, what it's all about, what they're doing. I know because a lot of times with the Gitcoin profile pages, it's just a lot of text. It's a lot of information to go through. People have a very difficult time, and you know, a lot of energy is spent by the Gitcoin community figuring out like which projects do we actually donate to. So, yeah, I think this
1000%.
kind of
Yeah.
reduces the friction a lot.
Yeah, and it was actually our recent impact reporting update that we did with that co-hosted event with Refi Tulum that got us over the benchmark to be verified on Giveth now. So that happened
Great.
yesterday.
Yeah, I had fun watching those updates. It looked like really warm and sunny down there.
Oh, it was good. Now now here's the thing. So we're not double counting, but in those links, right, we're proving that those wallets were established on a certain date as a direct result of that event, but it was across two different blockchains, right? So I guess from that perspective, if somebody's looking at this, how do you feel that would be received?
So each wallet got both a base and an Arbitrum transaction. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, or they got tokens on either network. The original unlock, um, so we used unlock protocol for that event, right? For the ticketing and the verification that they attended the event, and that was done on Arbitrum. But we accessed that through a Coinbase wallet that was created on Base chain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think you have two metrics. One is wallets activated, and then the second metric is the transactions.
Yeah, but they didn't. Well, yeah, I mean, the only transaction they would have produced would have been interacting with the unlock event page. So yeah, maybe that's a good point that we could separate those.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as you have the links to the block explorer, I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, I think for me, I think more of it is just like what would be the easiest way to integrate to get all of this automated, right? And just want to point out, just a shout out to Bloom Network. Bloom Network is a regenerative social media network, and you can have a local Bloom, and then they have like a blogging platform as well as an impact reporting platform. And so when you go and when you make impact reports on Bloom Network, it automatically pushes to the
Oh, super cool. I
automatically
was not
pushes
aware of
to
that.
Karma Gap. And so here we had, I was filling out a bunch of reports on Bloom Network, and Bloom Network's cool because they've developed their own internal like incentive mechanism. So they have flow tokens like flowers. So for each impact report you do, for how many people you had, how many hours, you get like a certain amount of flow tokens. And then at the end of each quarter, all those flow tokens are added up, and they've got a pot of money that's been like gifted to them to distribute to their members. And so depending on how many flow tokens you have amongst everybody who did like impact that quarter, you get divided up along those percentages. So, you know, you can make your impact reports and actually get those flow tokens converted. They don't get converted. It's just saying, okay, this is our internal accounting tool, and then we will pay you directly with USDC on base, like whenever the quarter ends. And so it's nice that this was coming through as project impact. And so you can actually go and click on, you know, the individual impact report. And so it would be nice. It would be great. Like, how do we just get more of these integrations, right? Oh, I didn't. So this is the impact report. And so it's nice to get these like network effects where we just, you know, there could be an unlock protocol integration, for example. And so all those people that signed up for the event through Unlock Protocol, since that's happening on chain, ideally we could set up like a API integration where it just automatically populates here on Karma Gap. And so these are just some of the other things that like I'm trying to work on in terms of more of the network integration stuff. Like I mentioned before, we've got GiveF now. So we've just, for the upcoming ENS Octant round, all of those projects are going to get synced up to Karma Gap. So I don't know if anybody here is going to be a part of the ENS Octant round, but that'll show up with your project on Karma Gap. So that's really cool. And yeah, there's a lot of potential, you know, even with hypercerts doing different things. Anything on chain we can pretty much plug in. So this is Refi Sicilia.
Well, I'll take it back to the Unlock team because we have our weekly town hall today. So I'll definitely take it back to them and see what can be done there. I mean, they're open source, right? So I'm sure an integration wouldn't be too hard. They've done a lot of integrations, like with Guild. They've done integrations with Charmverse. They've done integrations with Telegram, other open source builders as well. I'm sure an integration would not be a great feat, to say the least. But yeah,
Well, how long do you think it took you to make that that report for that activation event in Tulum?
Well, so we had to do a couple things, right? One, we had to create because Unlock DAO was one of the sponsors, so we had to create a retrospect, right? And they were a tier 1 sponsor, so we had to create a retrospect for that. From that retrospect, I was able to take out some very specific information and put this in the impact report. So maybe an hour tops.
Yeah, it's, you know, it is a little bit of a time. I mean, it's not too much time, but it is time. And yeah, it would be ideal where you just run the event, you've got all that on-chain activity, and then it just auto-populates, I think is the idea.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. And you could even extrapolate it to just like events that have been attended that are, you know, public good events, right? And then you're building more on-chain reputation that way too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed because one of the things, one of the fun things about my job is I can actually see on a weekly basis all of the updates from across the Karma Gap, and so reading everybody's, you know, impacts and updates is really it's really cool. Gives me a lot of like inspiration for the week. But this, I thought this Bitcoin City 2.0 was interesting.
Oh yeah, that's a research project that we're launching, and we're going to form a team around it. We're going to fundraise against it, and we're going to go down there, boots on the ground, do some investigative work, and that will be one of our. So basically, our grand plan for 2025 is to have 6 localized hubs across Latam that we can effectively operate out. A lot of that comes through our partnership with the local community leaders that are already established in these various regions of Latam. But eventually, this program is going to expand to other developing countries that need, you know, quality education.
That's exciting. I know you're. I know how much you love the Colorado winters, but
Well, you know, I've lived here all my life, say 5 years when I was in Florida in the Navy, and yeah, the snow-capped Rockies are beautiful to look at a distance, but yeah, the cold not so much. It's getting a little old for me, so.
snowbird and down south. Well, that's great. I appreciate all the work that you've been putting into your profile, and yeah, just I think you know, we're collectively moving the space forward. And yeah, just appreciate all the work that Let's Grow DAO is doing, and really looking forward to this upcoming Gitcoin round. And yeah, just happy to be helping out and sharing knowledge and learning and growing together.
Yeah, so to get tapped into the Bloom network, Magenta would be the right person to talk to about that, or?
You can just go directly to the Bloom Network website, and then they
Okay.
have like maybe like a few day review period for new members, profiles, whatever. And then you would set up your local Bloom. But I'm sure you can, if you want to ping her, great. But I think you might be able to just go through directly, or do it directly and then ping her, and then she'll fast track you.
All right, cool. Fair enough. That's really cool though, because if we can be doing our impact reporting over there, and then it automatically pulls into Karma HQ, that's going to be a very much of a time saver for sure.
Yeah,
It
and I
kinda,
think that feature was a refi and Arbitrum grant.
awesome. Nice. That's cool. I actually worked alongside the Charmverse team um, in the running of that program. So I was basically Xander's assistant, to put it simply. So in standing up that program. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's a. Yeah, it's really interesting going back through and just seeing how many grant rounds there have actually been. But maybe Refine Arbitrum didn't.
No, it's
Yeah,
not.
They didn't know. I think they used Charmverse. That's why.
they didn't have the automation sync. We had it like do we? No. Because they collect the milestones inside of Chambers, and the reporting of the milestones, it was inside of Chambers. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have in my to do list to bring that information over to Karma, because for exposure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of kind of like overlap where Charmverse does a lot of really, like, they've got an awesome platform, and Karma does something really, really specific, and it's like, okay, where's the overlap? Because I mean, in reality, we're using both of these tools and many more, and so I think a lot of the challenge is just like, how do we make less work but get like more more impact and more funding?
Yeah, the discoverability of karma information is something that I would love to see in chambers implemented. Like that you can browse communities and their information inside of chambers in the same way as you can browse information inside of Karma app.
Well, we can just take a little look here at yeah, I think this is the other thing that's going to be wild, is like when more of the DAO, because I can see a lot more funding in this space is going to be DAO driven. And I think, and also too, like DAO governance, DAO ops, like I'm blown away by just how proficient, prolific Let's Grow DAO is, like, hustling. And so I'm happy to, be contributing a little bit to that. But
Thank you.
we're doing like massive upskilling right now between DAO operations, AI assistant production, like whatever you want to call it. Like we're going through like post-industrial information revolution right now. It's wild.
Yeah, well, we living in the age of information, so yeah, it's gotta be like that.
Well, I always say work smart, play dumb.
For sure.
I tell them I don't know what you're talking about, policeman.
Yeah,
It's on chain, man.
sunshine, like it's the way to
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Well, I believe that we cover everything and we crush so many questions from the audience. It was a great session. Like I said,
Yeah.
I record the session, so I'm going to be editing and post producing the video so we can get the highlights and we can repurpose this content down the line. So yay, was a great one.
Yeah, we've got a few more. So tell your friends, tell your mom, and yeah, I guess we'll well, we'll do this again on Thursday, and then next week again on Tuesday and Thursday, and then yeah,
Yeah.
Gitcoin grants should be kicking off.
and you're gonna
And
be ready.
then, yeah, after Gitcoin Grants wraps up, I think we'll just keep, the support. We've got a Telegram group, we've got a Discord group for Karma. We're on Twitter, Farcaster, and so yeah, lots of touch points to keep in touch.
Yay! Thank you, friend. See you all tomorrow for the cluster mashing session with Joel Miller. He is one of the creators of the quadratic funding formula. So that one is a suggest session for operators, donors, and grantees to understand how cluster matching works and how it is being used to protect the matching pool for whoever is running either a community round or the open source round. It's a really interesting work. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Wasabi, for all of the hard work you're putting in, and thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.